Hey everybody, Tony D and another Hollywoke hot take. Oh, we got a lot of stuff to talk about today. So smash like and subscribe. Thank you for smash liking and subscribing. Please check out my books. Links in the description, including Wokistan, a novel, Hollywoke, another novel about some of the stuff we talk about here, political satire, and of course, the Pineys books 1 through 6, all available on Amazon, and Kindle Unlimited is free. And don't forget to check out our other 2 videos on Bitchute and Rumble, right, Joan? Right, Joan? Okay, got a lot to cover. Let's do it. Black leadership group blasts LeBron James for wearing logo from vendor that sells Confederate merch. What, what? You see how this works, LeBron? You get woke, you go broke. Or at the very least, the woke sword comes swinging back and hits you. Can't just make money by lecturing us, dude. You gotta be pure in your wokeness. And since you'll never be pure in your wokeness, eventually somebody digs something up. Which is why you shouldn't go down this path to begin with. Hollywood celebrities push gun control with Wear Orange campaign. They got pictures of them with guns. That's pretty funny. They say A-list celebrities. Let's see. Julianne Moore? Yes, A-list. Cher? I guess technically. Amy Schumer? No. Come on. Amy Schumer? B at most. John Legend? I guess. Maybe. Bette Midler? Kind of in the same category as Cher. I mean, technically true, but whatever. Alyssa Milano? No. No. She has never reached A. She's never reached A. Come on. What are you talking about here? Lin-Manuel Miranda? I don't even know who that is. Definitely not A. Bon Iver? Don't know who that is. Not A. Barack Obama? A. World famous? Certainly A. Not really a celebrity, but definitely A-list. Definitely A-list. VH1? Not A-list. That's a channel. No one. No. Oh, you work for a VH1? Please come in. Shonda Rhimes? Not even sure who she is. I've heard the name. I'm going to say no. Moms Demand Action, not a celebrity at all. You call this an A-list? Where? This is not an A-list. Please. Cruella sequel in the work, early development at Disney. Now, Yellow Flash did a story on this, and I almost did a whole video on it, but I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. Why would they greenlight this? Because they greenlight everything. Okay, that it's in early development, they may not even make it. Emma Stone's schedule might not open up, or it may be one of those projects that gets endlessly downgraded, and then they replace everybody who works on it with low rent versions of the people who did the first movie, and it goes directly onto digital. I mean, digital is rapidly becoming the blockbuster of movies. So part of the reason I think they greenlit it is because they have the digital platform and they need content. They're probably rapidly discovering we don't have enough to cover 24 hours forever. Yeah, for a while it was great. Oh, all these Disney classics. Now what are you going to show me? I watched them all. That's the problem with going digital. That's the problem with the internet. Eventually it's all reruns. That was the problem with TV. I watched all these old TV shows. I didn't watch them new. I watched Hogan's Heroes. God, it had to be the umpteenth run. It had to be the 100th run of them. Because I was watching them in the 70s and 80s when I was a kid because nothing else was on at the day. And they needed something to fill up the time. They can't just have a blank screen. So they'd play old sitcoms, whatever they had. Disney is rapidly discovering the same thing. And since they're so woke and wonderful, they can't use a lot of old stuff. How are you going to put on Hogan's Heroes? It's full of bad guys from Germany. So, I don't know what you're going to do, Disney. You kind of, it's exactly what I mapped out in Hollywoke. And the exact trap of going digital, going all digital. And you screwed this up because you ruined the movie experience and you could be making it great. You had the money to buy up all the theaters in America and make them awesome. Even if you had to lose money on the theaters, which I don't think you would, you could make them more affordable or the experience better. So I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. I used to go to these high-end movie art theaters. I still would. I mean, things are just opening up again back here. But the nice thing about them is the prices are relatively the same, but you get high-end snacks, right? So, yeah, am I going to pay $4 for a candy bar, $5, whatever? Sure, but it's a Toblerone. It's a high-end candy bar. I'm not paying for the same crap I could buy at the supermarket and sneak in. Same thing with the popcorn. They had high-end, shakers of spices I could put on the popcorn. And some of the other theaters are doing that too now. But, instead of buying a $4 Coke or $5 Coke, which I didn't even want because it was too much soda, but the smallest one is this gigantic cup, I could instead get one of those high-end gourmet sodas. It wasn't a lot. It's roughly the same amount of money, but at least I'm getting a high-end experience, so I don't mind paying a little more. At least I'm getting some kind of value for the dollar. That's the problem with your average movie theater. It's dirty. Things are cheap. They're just trying to get by. It's not a nice experience anymore. You got to watch, how many commercials do you have to watch ahead of the damn movie? I mean, people want to see the previews. You want to see them. I'd like to see more previews, if anything. But do you want to see a commercial for Coke? No, absolutely not. Especially a commercial you see on TV. I don't want to see those commercials. Because then it feels like I'm watching TV, and why did I come all the way here and pay $12, $15 to see a damn movie? I might as well download it and watch it at home. So you got to create a better experience for people. Disney has the money and the motive. Will they do it? Judging by their choices here, no. And the whole idea that this is a fail upwards, partly it's they're buying their own hype, I think. Rotten Tomatoes gave this movie 97%. Is that a real number? I doubt it. I mean, it could be, but and the audience, and that was the audience score. So the critics are so. The audience score is higher. That's usually an indication, but keep in mind what happened during Return of the Jedi, right? And not Return of the Jedi, The Last Jedi, and all those other movies, right? They didn't like the results. Hollywood didn't like the results, and then magically comment sections were closed down, and somehow maybe the numbers got adjusted just a little bit. It's no, it wouldn't be a big deal. It wouldn't be illegal to change the numbers, I don't think, in Rotten Tomatoes, to just pay Rotten Tomatoes a boatload of money and say, change the numbers. Give us a hit here. Why wouldn't they? I believe a studio owns Rotten Tomatoes. I think I want to say Warner Brothers or someone like that, not Disney. I mean, what would be the big deal changing the numbers? It's not illegal. Would they be misleading people? I guess. I mean, I guess you could be sued if your movie didn't do well, but it's Hollywood. They want all the movies to do well. And as Yellow Flash points out, it sounds like they're lying about the digital part of it, at least. Oh, it did a great business during the premiere. And then it said, no, it's down 39% as compared to Mulan. So that doesn't sound good. That doesn't sound like it's doing well. It seemed to do okay BO in theaters, but that's not a really credible number. Because first off, they lie about the box office. They've been lying about box office for years in Hollywood. You can't judge it by that. Not really. You kind of can on the ends of the spectrum. I mean, if a movie does nothing, they can't hide it. And if a movie does absolute gangbusters, it's evident. But stuff in the middle, I think they can massage that. I think they do massage the numbers quite a bit. So I'm sure if you broke it down, you could say technically it made X amount of dollars, but did it really? Who knows? Who knows? Maybe it's like a comic book thing. Maybe they're counting all the theaters that they got it into, who paid certain fees for that, and they're not necessarily counting ticket sales, or they're merging the two, or they're adjusting the two based on some arbitrary piece of data that they can, massage. Who knows? But they're not going to tell you their inner secrets. They need to be able to do that because they need some movies to do well, and then a movie's doing great, and I don't know, it's tax season. They want it to tank. I don't think they have any movies like that on the slate right now, but just saying. So, and who knows? It could be like, oh, this movie did great, and the people in charge. A lot of times the studio execs, they greenlight stuff simply because certain people are attached to it. Certain people have greenlit stuff before. It's a passion project of theirs, or they like the idea. They're doing other similar projects, and they need to greenlight it because otherwise it looks dumb and suspicious, and they're trying to please certain people. It's greenlit for now. It could end at any moment. Emma Stone could say no, and they want to blame it on her, so they'll wait until her agent says, nah, we're not going to do it, and then, oh, we got to cancel it because of Emma Stone. And then if there's no outcry from the fans or whatever, they'll just quietly let it all die. So who knows if it's going to get a sequel. Chrissy Teigen drops out of Netflix. Never have I ever amid controversy. Stodden bullying controversy. Courtney Stodden bullying controversy. Good. I mean, she shouldn't have done that. And she's, karma is a bee. Excuse me. Breitbart, thank you. Nickelodeon cast its first ever openly trans teen actor in a live action show. Okay. Who cares? Is the show going to be any good? That's the question. From Deadline, Microsoft blocked Tiananmen Square Tankman images from Bing searches. Ooh, ouch. That is... it's interesting that this is even reported by Deadline, which I believe is owned by Variety, right? So these guys are a bit beholden to China. This is kind of a scandal, a bit of a scandal against Microsoft regarding China. You would think if they're on the side of China, they would let this quietly go by the wayside, but they're not. There may be a turn behind the scenes against China, either in Hollywood or in Washington or both. So maybe they're, putting it on, at least for now. Interesting. Interesting that they expose that. And interesting that Microsoft would do that. What are you idiots doing? Why would you suppress this image? You morons. Michael Douglas pushes H.R. 1 Democrat-backed election takeover bill that would gut voter ID requirements. Yeah, whatever. I mean, look. He's Michael Douglas. He's probably think he's doing something good. I'm not defending the guy. I don't agree with it, obviously, but he's an old school guy. He's not gonna red pill himself now. Okay, he's doing what he's doing. I mean, but really, who's he gonna influence here? The people who are still in the liberal camp and still think the Democrats are the good guys are as old as Michael Douglas. I mean, they're up there. So, whatever. Tom Hanks. This is a bit weird. Schools in Hollywood must portray the burden of racism in our nation. Yeah, I guess. It's weird that he's doing an op-ed about this. I guess Tom Hanks read about the Tulsa Race Massacre, and he's all about it now. But as they say, I'm Tom Hanks, and I'm lending my credibility to the U.S. government. This was, if that's the case, it was probably in the works for weeks, and they lined it all up so Tom Hanks could come out with this, and maybe it got a little delayed for some reason, and now June 4th it lands, because maybe they thought everybody's going to be up in arms about the Tulsa Massacre and wanted to do something. Tom Hanks, will you lend your voice? Okay, whatever. And he does, and then, who is anybody still talking about this story? I mean, Biden gave his usual, hi, I'm a decrepit mummy speech. So, maybe this should have come out ahead of time, although that might have taken away Biden's sheen, but who knows. Speaking of Sheen, Martin Sheen says Trump's election was a colossal error in our character. We've all got to call this bum out. Dude, I mean, you're a little late to the party on this one, aren't you? Orange Man bad now? But, Trump's starting to gear up for the next election, however that's going to go. And, the Democrats are putting out the word, ooh, start cut these guys off at the knees. We don't even want them in the race. It's the same thing that happened the first time he ran, right? I mean, at least kind of for all Republicans in general, not specifically Trump, because eventually they signal boosted him, much to their chagrin. So, he calls him a bum who is selfish and greedy and angry, referring to our country's previous support of him as a colossal error in our character. Who are you, fake President Martin Sheen, to say that? That's a bit much. But, he was the president in the liberals' imagination, so... he's 80? I didn't realize he was that old. Well, that makes sense. 80-year-old Martin Sheen yesterday for his personal thoughts on the political climate in America. Yeah, so maybe this wasn't meant to be a big speech as Breitbart's kind of portraying it. But, again, he's another old-school liberal. How much is he up on things? Does he really know what's going on at this point when you're that old? It's a lot to consume. It's very complicated. I don't think he's listening to the James Lindsay podcast, but, and at least Martin Sheen, I think I got to give him some credit. He's been relatively consistent through most of his career. He's always been an activist. He was an activist as a young actor and did stuff and marched. And so, I don't have to agree with the guy, but I'm not calling him out because he's saying Orange Man bad. It's just another stick on the pile of liberal crazy, I guess. Speaking of crazy stupid love star Annalay Tipton comes out as queer, non-binary, pansexual. No one cares. I mean, who cares? No one cares. The only person who might care, or the only people who might care, are the people you work for doing fashion or acting or whatever, because that's going to impact the fashion and acting. But, and in fact, I think a lot of this is just posturing. I think this is just like, ooh, if you come out as non-binary, if you fit into the category, you got that look, you got short hair, and you're messing around with girls anyway on the side sometimes, why not come out and make a big to-do about it and boost your career? It'll get you more work and blah, blah, blah. There's a time in Hollywood they would tell guys, a lot of them were gay actors, like, you got to have a wife, you got to have a kid, it's going to help your career. And, there are a lot of rumors about, like, certain actors, Will Smith, and their actual, taste. Maybe that's true, maybe it's not. There's been rumors about all sorts of people over the years in Hollywood. But who cares? No one cares. And the whole point of the movement for gay people, queer people, all the various spectrums, whatever you want to call it, was to allow people to, not be discriminated against. And now that they're not really discriminated against, the people who were gung-ho to be crusaders for that won't give it up. They won't move on to some other people who could use their help. How about in other countries? I mean, I don't see these people going to Saudi Arabia and saying, hey, help all these people who are gay and queer or whatever. You know why? Because that'll be tough. That'll be really tough. I don't see people going to Russia and all these other countries and trying to help people who are being actually oppressed. They just do it here because they're lazy. They're lazy human beings who need to go, oh, I'm oppressed. Oppressed the hot thing right now, right? Oh, yeah, I'm oppressed. So, I don't know if she is necessarily that dramatic, but it's becoming so commonplace. At some point, finally some actor's going to come out as queer, non-binary, whatever, and people are going to, it won't even be covered, right? It won't be a news story. And at that moment, it'll be like, oh man, I wrote all these press releases. I thought this was it was a big deal for a long time. We'll have to go a different angle. And then they'll be off on that different angle, whatever it is. I think it'll be more anti-woke. We're going to swing back to more pro-America kind of stuff. Back during the Bush era. Hopefully not like the Bush era where it was like, but something moderate. Because when you think about it, moderate, centrist, common sense, it's boring. Things on the extreme, unusual, that's what a lot of these actors are trying to do. Look how unique and unusual I am. Pay attention to me. It helps their careers. And it helps people look at them more. Alicia Silverstone enters TikTok by hilariously recreating iconic Clueless moment. Get off of TikTok, Alicia. Get off of TikTok. It's run by the CCP. Okay? You guys got to stop doing TikTok. The CCP are on it. Stop doing TikTok. Get it out of your phone. I mean, this came out a year ago, over a year ago. And you're promoting TikTok? For shame. For shame. You want to get out of China's grasp, everybody should delete TikTok from their phone, I believe. Stripped down how Hollywood's favorite pole dancing studio was undone by allegations of emotional exploitation and racial sensitivity. And here is the circling firing squad. I mean, did anybody take any of this really all that seriously? Oh, being on a stripper pole, it's such great exercise, and it does all these great... Please. It's not real. It's not real exercise, really. I'm sure it was exhausting spinning around on a pole or whatever. But this was a fad. People got into it, and now they can't. Now it's not outrageous anymore. There's so many YouTube videos of people like, oh, let me spin on your stripper pole. Oh, it wasn't secure. Into the fish tank. I mean, there's like 9 million of those videos. Now it's boring. Now it's part of society. Therefore, the media is like, well, nobody cares about this story. How can we make them care? Oh, yeah. Oh, people are being abused. That's why we're finally seeing the beginnings of, detransitioning. I got talked into being trans. I really wasn't trans. You're going to see more of that because being trans is not a news story anymore. Finally, most people say they plan to spend more time consuming entertainment post-pandemic. Yeah, you wish, Hollywood Reporter. New study, Forever Changed, COVID-19's lasting impact on the entertainment industry, also found that 1 in 3 people said they took up a hobby thanks to entertainment that they consumed, such as the Queen's Gambit-inspired chess or Bridgerton-inspired embroidery. There's no way this is true. I just don't believe this. I think this is hopeful thinking from the Hollywood people. Oh, the people are going to watch TV more. Yeah, I don't think so. People, not around here. I'll tell you that. In South Jersey, people are off to the shore. I'm the only one in this house. Everybody's off to the shore. The moment it got warm, let me the hell out of here. People are going out. They're going to hook up. They're going to do a lot of other things. They're going to take those hobbies that they learned. Yeah, they might sit around and watch TV while they're doing it. That's not watching TV in the same way they were doing it before, by the way. They're kind of half-ass watching it. They're kind of listening to it. They're going to, in my view, this is total wishful thinking. I think they're done. The number one thing they're done with is regular TV. Regular TV is going the way of the dodo. It's not going to be like it was when I was a kid, where you had to turn on the TV, had to hope something good was on when you turned it on, and you maybe sat through another terrible TV show to get to the show you actually wanted to watch. Those days are gone. Now it's all about on demand. What on demand service you have, when are you going to watch it? You watch it at your convenience, whenever you got time. Yeah, to some extent, I think that increases the amount people watch because it's more efficient now. Back in the day, if something wasn't on, and I really, I'd go through the channels and really go through it. Eventually, I'd give up and go, well, let's go do something else. And I'd force myself to go do something else because I was bored. These days, you don't have to do that. You could be sitting on a stack of stuff that you could look at later. And whenever you get the time, boom, you watch it. So, wishful thinking, Hollywood Reporter, but that's Hollywood. That's Hollywoke. And that's my video. Joan and I will see you in the next one. Right, Joan?